Okay, we are recording. Hi there, Tiana. All right, so we are here for day one of the free class, Conjuring Your Unique Business. What we're going to do over these 3 days is talk about I'm going to move my computer a little bit. We're going to talk about, what it looks like to have your own business and how to figure out what your business should be, what it shouldn't be, and work on expectations around having your own business, all kinds of stuff like that. So again, feel free to say hi in the comments. Let me know that you're here and ask questions as we go along. So the more questions you ask, the more help I can be to you. On the third day, we are going to really have some time where I can help you brainstorm and all that good stuff. So definitely, stick around for the next 3 days. And on day 3, bring some stuff to talk about or ask questions. And again, ask questions today too. Hi, Lydia and Veronica and Karen. So I see a lot of familiar faces here. And I know that there are a bunch of new people that are new to the Sisters Enchanted or new to me that signed up as well. So if you are new here and you're just not saying hi, because I know that there are more people watching than are chatting, welcome. I am going to tell you a little bit about me in a second. So it's just 1:01 right on the money here. So I guess we can get started. Let me just get hi, Ashley. Let me get the slideshow. I have slides. I'm sometimes those of you who are new here, who don't know me, I will tell you about me, but I'm always really flying by the seat of my pants. So it's always exciting when I'm prepared with something like slides. So let me get those up for you. Hi, Pauline. We're going to share the screen. I want to share my desktop. Okay. Oh, no, that's not what I want to share. There it goes. Okay. This is what we want, and we want to view the slideshow. All right. So I can't see your comments actually right now. Oh, no. Yeah, so I'm going to have to go back in between the two because I can't see your comments when I'm talking, which is frustrating. But, okay. So this is our free class, day 1. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to see the comments while I am talking because it's bugging me that I can't. Oh, there we go. All right. There we go. There we are. All right, so day 1 of Conjuring Your Unique Business. Let's do this. So who am I, for those of you who don't know me and anybody watching this on the replay who doesn't know me? So apologies to the familiar faces. I'm Sarah Waka. I am the owner of the Sisters Enchanted. The Sisters Enchanted is a business where we work to bring magic to the lives of women all around the world, create community. And we teach all kinds of, and I teach all kinds of fun classes about spirituality and all kinds of amazing magical things. So prior to the Sisters Enchanted, I went to school and have a degree in English with minors in women's studies and psychology and religious, I think it's comparative religions is the technical term. So I have been working since I was 16, and before I was even 18, I was managing people and hired and fired people before I was even 18 years old. At 21, I graduated college and ran a $4 million sales territory for the biggest chocolate company here in the U.S., which was really exciting and interesting for sure. I decided to go back to school, get my master's in education to be a teacher. From there, in a series of events, I founded a business where I did advocacy and taught learning skills for kids with learning differences, and that was Shoreline Academic Coaching. While doing that, I became pregnant with my first child, and my business was just it was so stressful that I didn't want to open my emails. I didn't want to check voicemails. I would wake up every day and just sick to my stomach, not wanting to see who was contacting me, which is part of what we're going to talk about in terms of discovering your unique business. And in doing this, I realized, well, at first I thought this is what I'm going to do for my life. And I started to try to build an online business around this. And met with a business mentor who, heard about how poorly I was feeling in my job and was like, why are you pursuing this? And I was like, because it's my career. It's what I do. And so she encouraged me to do something that I love to do, like what I would do if I had all day long just to waste and learn whatever I wanted to learn. That brought me to the Sisters Enchanted. And so I built the Sisters Enchanted while still running my academic coaching business in person, and then became pregnant. So I have two small kids, a 3-year-old and a now 9-month-old little boy. I don't know if you guys can see his picture. This is when he was a little baby on here. But yeah, so that is basically me and my logo there from Shoreline Academic Coaching. And that is who is teaching you this class. So I've got a lot of business knowledge, marketing knowledge, psychology kind of knowledge under my belt, and I love to share it with people. All right, so we're going to talk about the 3 reasons why most people fail in business. So I'm going to go through the 3 reasons, and then at the end, we're going to talk about kind of like how to get around those reasons. So if you have questions as we go along, like I said in the beginning, definitely feel free to ask and I'll answer. Or if you just have ideas you want to give to me, anything at all, I'm here for you. So the first reason why most people fail at starting their own business is that they don't have enough motivation and perseverance. So this is like the biggest thing that I see. People are like, I'm going to build a business. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to do all these great things. And then they're like, oh, but I'm just so tired from my day job. I am exhausted. I just don't have time. Like, I want to rest this weekend, which I hear you. Like I said, I ran a business and have 2 small kids. I was pregnant with my second one. I know what that's like. But if you do that too many times where you're like, oh, I'm just going to rest this one weekend, doing that over and over again, you're not making progress. And so the people that succeed in business are making progress. They're motivated and they persevere through those tough times when you just really want to just call it quits. So, you got to think about how long it might take to build a business and then add a bunch more time. There's also this around the perseverance piece, this idea that, okay, so I've got a great idea. I'm going to tell people about it and I'm going to make money. It doesn't really work that way. And it does take time. So if you think like, okay, here's my 6-month plan. In 6 months, I hope to be making $1,000 a month. I would add a few months onto that for $1,000 a month. If your goal is in 6 months to make $10,000 a month, maybe you've got like a really grand idea and plan, add a few more months on. It's going to take more time than you think. There are cases of people that they just like come out of the gates running and they are an overnight success. And that is amazing when that happens. That's not the typical thing. So for me to completely replace my income, and now my husband actually has left his job. So he's self-employed also. He has stopped working in September. So we are now a stay-at-home family, I guess you would call us. It took me about 1.5 years, a little bit less, about almost 1.5 years, like 1 year and 4 months or so, to generate that kind of income. And I, busted my butt to do it. So it takes time for sure. Another thing around motivation and perseverance, why do you want this business? So for me, with my academic coaching business, I wanted this business because it's what I did. I got a master's degree in education. I spent a lot of money to get that master's degree. A lot of time and effort went into it. And then getting additional trainings afterwards, again, time and investment. So I thought I wanted that business because it's what I did. At that point, there was no going back. I learned these things. That's who I am. It's what I do. But that's not a great reason to want to run a business because you somehow feel like you've been molded into this and that's what you have to do. And I definitely learned that lesson. It's much better to want to run a business because you want to change something. You want to help somebody. I did love helping the kids that I was helping, but it was very emotionally taxing for me because I took on, the emotions of the parents and the children and the teachers, and always I'm a wanting to help people and fix things type person. And it was really hard for me to step away from all of that, which is why it was making me like physically ill running that business. So it wasn't the right why for me though. With the Sisters Enchanted, I can literally change lives all the time. I get emails about, influencing somebody in some way, teaching them something that's changed their life in some way. And I just love empowering other people to get out there and change their world in some form. And it doesn't it's not as taxing on me as working with kids and families was. So why do you want a business? What is your motivation? Is it just because you want to quit your job and be home? That's a really good reason. But again, as soon as you get tired, you're having a rough day, that might not be a big enough why. So what is your impact going to be? That's what we want to think about there. Fitting it in and letting other things go. So again, around motivation and perseverance, you've got to let some things go. If you are a person whose non-negotiables include like an entire day off every week to rest, that's amazing. But if you're working a full-time job, and you have a family and you want to build a business, you're probably going to have to let that day of rest slide for now while you're doing it. And then hustle versus ease and flow. This is something that once you start diving into online business, if you already are an online business, you probably hear these words, even offline business. So my experience with my academic business was offline, in person, and then Sisters Enchanted is all online. So I do have both aspects going here. And my husband's business that he previously ran was in person as well. He was a general contractor, remodeling person, home remodeling contractor, I guess you'd call him. So we hear about these ideas of hustle and then ease and flow. And you're going to find these business people that are like, you need to hustle. I love the hustle. You've got to like keep working and work hard. And then you hear business coaches that are like, but it's all about the ease and flow. Do things that are easy and that feel like they're in the flow. And I feel like that those are, they're two really big extremes. And in order to get to ease and flow, you have to hustle in the beginning. So if you want to get to a place where it's ease and flow, you need to be hustling. You need to put in the time, the effort, the consistency, like keep giving information, keep finding people, no matter what kind of business you have, whether it's in person, product-based, service-based, online. There's going to be a certain amount of hustle that has to go into building a business before you start to reap those benefits of being able to have a business that's easy and just flows. So I think that there might be this idea that, that running your own business should just be easy because it's yours. And that's not the case. There is a certain amount of hustle that goes into it. So again, motivation and perseverance. That's the first reason why most businesses fail. There's not the right motivation, which leads to you taking time away from the business because it's not like, a life-changing thing for you. And then perseverance. So these are really two reasons that you've got to be able to persevere through the tired times, through the hard times, through the like, oh my gosh, I haven't slept in 3 weeks and I've only made $60 times. You've got to be able to persevere through that. And the people that can do those things are going to be the people that succeed. All right, so that's reason number one. And like I said, at the end, we're going to go through some things to work out these issues. And then we're also going to look at the 2 printables that I've given you so far in your welcome email and your day 1 email. Okay, reason number 2 that most businesses fail. And guys, don't be afraid to ask questions or give me comments or anything also. It's not the right business idea for that person, which I touched on, or you're selling to the wrong person. So maybe you do have the perseverance piece and you're working hard at it, but the business idea is not in alignment with you. And this was the case with my my education services business. Anytime people wanted to give me a referral, I was like, oh, I don't even want that referral. Stop referring business to me. The only reason I took them is if I really needed the money. Otherwise, I was like, I'm not returning the phone call. So if the business idea is not the right one for you, your business will probably not succeed because you're not going to feel good doing it. If you're selling from an inauthentic place because the business is not the right one for you. So I see this a lot with people that are in network marketing or MLM companies, which can be like really amazing opportunities for people. But if it's a product that the person's like not really behind or doesn't see value in somebody spending their money on, then, it's not authentic and people see that and you're going to have a hard time selling it. An example might be from MLM, like LuLaRoe clothing. So if you're a person or you know somebody or there is a fictitious person, this is just a fictitious person I'm making up who sells LuLaRoe. But if they don't actually wear it and they are like, oh, I would never wear this product, whatever, they're not going to be able to sell from an authentic place and share the features and benefits and like how life-changing it was to them because it's not authentic. If you are an in-person service and you are selling, like maybe you're a therapist, and you're trying to do marital counseling because you think that's like what you should do and that's what you've learned, but really like maybe your own experience is like you just don't think it works, and the methodology you're following, you're like, it's crap, it's totally like, people aren't going to think that you are authentic, and that's really super important is for you to be selling from an authentic place. So you've got to be behind what you're selling like 1,000%. And then selling to the wrong person. So I see that some people have comments about that they're not the right ones. So maybe your business is completely for you, but it's not the people that you're trying to get in front of aren't the right people. Like if you are trying to sell, for example, I sell with the Sisters Enchanted. My courses are based on magic and enchantment. So if I was like marketing towards moms at a Christian Bible study group, maybe like 1 out of 25 of them might have some interest in what I'm trying to tell them, right? That's probably not where I'm going to find my ideal audience for like a tarot card class. Now, I do have people who take tarot card classes that are Christians and that teach Sunday school, and that's amazing. But that's like 1 out of 25. So better use of my time would be to market towards like people that like metaphysical shops, because it's probably 25 out of 25 are going to be interested, right? So you got to sell to the right people. So Tiana says that she realizes that she's been selling to the wrong people. So another example would be like, if you're a marital therapist and you're selling to, you're trying to get in front of men's groups. Well, most men in our typical, average person society situation aren't going to be the ones making those phone calls. It's going to be the women. So you want to get in front of women, right? Brittany is dealing with this right now, is in an MLM and loves the product and love what it does for people, but the aggressive sales tactics feel so wrong to me. Yeah, and it's always the people that are, and Brittany, for MLMs too, this is like a tangent, but what you really want to do is do something that sets you apart from the other people. So market yourself, but you're selling the product. So like, I don't know what yours is, but if it was, so I would just think of essential oils because it's one that I see a lot. So people that are just like, oh, I have oil, like I sell oils, here's my link. Like, probably nobody signs up through that. But if you have like a free guide about how oils changed your life in terms of like, allergies or hormones or something, like people are going to buy you and the experience you're sharing versus just the product. So that's what differentiates it. And if you love it, right, and you have an authentic experience to sell, that's what you want to sell. So Ashley says, curious why you would not want to accept people referred to you. I'm assuming that would be a good lead. Yeah, except in my business, I hated my business. So I would like hide from leads, right? And it's because my business wasn't in alignment with me, which is why it wasn't successful. Like I would see the emails come in like, oh, so-and-so referred you or me to you. I would only take them if I really was like, we could really use the cash. I'm going to take this and I will take you in. Otherwise, I was like, I'm just not accepting new people right now because it just made me physically ill running that business. So the idea with that example that I gave you was a business that fails because it's not in alignment. So my business was successful, but I kept it just successful enough that I made enough money to match like what we needed to pay our bills. Not enough money like I make now to where my husband could quit his job and we have more money than we need typically to pay our bills. I can just buy stuff if I wanted to without having to really think too much about it. Where before I'd have to be like, okay, every single day, check the bank account, check this, like where are we at? And it's because I didn't want more because it made me physically ill to take on more clients. So Brittany is with Thrive, trying to find your niche, but their business model doesn't really work for that. Basically want to share Thrive so people can be healthy and want to further their spiritual life. Yeah, so some people that I've seen that do thrive, like, it's all the people, well, that I see that are successful anyway, and I don't follow too many, but they're sharing their life, like their social media is them in their life. And then it's like a picture of like the patches or whatever they're called that the person has on. It'll be like all lifestyle images and then a picture of the patch, like that this is what's providing them the energy to live the life that way. So, that's the thing with network marketing, though, is that you're still selling yourself, not the product. You're selling you and your life. And then with that, people want what they see in you, and then you're able to sell more of the product. That's my 2 cents anyway on that. All right. So the third reason why most businesses fail is fear. And this is a big one. This is like a big overarching one. So fear of all kinds of things, fear of money. So not having money, fear of spending money, fear of cutting back. And by cutting back, I mean all sorts of things. Cutting back on expenses so that you have money to spend on your business, because it does cost money to run a business. Money, or cutting back on time. So having to ditch out on maybe commitments, things that you enjoy doing. For me, this is things like watching movies and TV. I don't know the last time I watched the show The Magicians, and I don't watch it when it's on. I watch it so there's no commercials, like after the fact, and I watch it like once, a week later on. And other than that, I don't watch any TV. I don't watch movies. I take care of my kids during the day because I want to fulfill the stay-at-home mom role. And then I cut back on those types of things. That's the thing that I cut back on. But that's really scary for some people, to give up their leisure time. Fear of big decisions. So should I do this thing? Should I take the leap? Should I register this name? Should this be my logo? Should this be my business name? Like whatever. Fear of big decisions. Fear of failing. That's a big one. And everybody fails in business. When you're either starting out, somewhere along the line, something's going to happen that's not going to pan out how you thought it would. That's just that's just part of it. So Veronica says, fear is your number one reason. Fear of putting myself out there and failing. Yeah, that is just part of it. So I will share some of my story too here. When I first started trying to build an online business, it was my education business. And I ran like a month-long kind of support group challenge thing for moms of kids who had learning differences. And I didn't get one single sale out of it. I think at the end of it, I was more confused than when I started, because I had this idea for what I would sell. And then the questions that people were asking, I was like, well, that's not addressed at all in what I was going to sell. And then I put a bunch of time and effort into this, and I didn't sell anything. And then and then the first class I sold for the Sisters Enchanted, I sold 4 spots for $37 each. And I lost about probably $50 on marketing, on ads spend. And that doesn't include my website hosting, building the website, my own time, because I still ran the class. So failure is part of it. That just, it comes with it, and putting yourself out there, obviously. Hey, Jen loves The Magicians. Christine's most afraid of laws, taxes, licenses, and rules. So depending on your business, I know that Christine, you are here in the US, I believe anyway. Depending on your business, and I think maybe you do physical products, because I know you sent us some amazing things. So taxes can be tricky because of collecting sales tax. But if you use a site like Shopify or Etsy, I believe that they can help you on that end for sure. With all that stuff, it's built in there, as far as I know. And for licenses and rules, there's really, unless you're selling a consumable product, like an edible good, food or tea or something, there's not too much you need to worry about, as long as you are, shipping domestically and selling domestically. There's not that much out there, unless it's food related, like I said, because then you have to have, if you're selling herbs and tinctures medicinally, that's a whole other ballgame. But if it's just physical products, there's not that much to worry about. And yeah, so you can totally, jump in. So Katie that's her fear too, file taxes for your business. Oh, hold on, what happened here? I have to file taxes for my business for the first time this year, and I'm terrified to get them done. Also, I had no idea I was supposed to register my name. Okay, yeah, getting your taxes done is really scary. I owe a whopping chunk of money, which is really scary also, but it's good, right? Because that means that I made money. Having to pay that bill is slightly nauseating, but that's a good thing. So you registering your business name and forming an LLC is a good thing to do for a couple of reasons. One, it makes your business, and I'm not a lawyer, but from what I understand with my 3 businesses that we have worked on over here, is it protects you. So it makes your business separate from you. So you are selling as a business rather than yourself. So heavens forbid somebody tried to sue you for something, your business is a separate entity from you. And also a lot of banks and financial institutions, if they catch wind that you're doing business out of your personal accounts, or like PayPal, things like that, may shut you down. You're not supposed to. So that's in Facebook too. So, but that's kind of like the one in every 500 people that happens to, but you really should be set up. Also, if you're set up as an LLC, the new tax laws in Connecticut, once you sell a certain amount of money a year or do a certain amount of money in sales, you can automatically write off 20% of your business right off the top. So yeah, that is important. So Jen owns a pretty decent sized business. So familiar with all of that, researching more the online aspect for yourself. Yeah, well, I got ideas for online business. Christine's probably overthinks this because of very little experience in such a thing. We're about a house, no kids, nothing really requiring such things. Yeah, there's not that much involved. And you can do it right online, register your business. It does cost a little bit more than if you just did it with a local lawyer, but you can do it online. So Jen's brother-in-law, your accountant and business you own, is like the most regulated. Never look forward to tax time. You will get audited. Yes. Yes. I know. I'm like petrified of audit. So petrified. We're so unorganized that I'm always like, it would be like I don't know. I feel bad for the person who had to audit me. So let's see here. And more of a witchy type. Yeah, do something fun. So Deanna, what is needed to register for an LLC? Not much. You need just a business name. You got to make sure it's not already registered in your state. If you're in the US, if you're not in the US, I don't want to give you advice on that because I don't really know. But if you're in the US, for those of you watching, you just need your name, your business name, and money. You have to pay for it. Other than that, not a whole lot. You register it with your state. So you can check your state's small business association part of the state website and see if it's taken, if the business name is taken or not. And that's it. All right. So that's it. Fear of all these big things, right? Fear of not being perfect. You guys don't know how many people I have encountered in different business groups and things along the way that just don't do things because they're not ready yet. And I'm like, that's crazy. Nothing I do is perfect. You just get it out there and it's going to be amazing. Fear of people not liking you. That is a tough one. It's something you just have to get past. There's plenty of people who don't like me. And, sometimes they feel the need to tell me and it is hard. But, hopefully if you have the right audience, a lot more people will like you and you just lean on that feeling. And then, like I said, the fear of failure, which I already listed, that's a big one. People are really afraid of failing. But if everybody fails, I fail too. And it stinks, but you just, you just keep going. So yeah, Deanna has a crazy fear of success. Well, fear of success is fear of failure and fear of success can be two different things. You can be afraid of being successful. Like what comes with that? Having to pay taxes, people knowing who you are and where you live. Those things are all scary too. For me, personal boundaries can be really difficult because people in my personal life now, because I've always been my magical witchy self, but people didn't usually like ask me questions like, can you read this for me? Can you do this for me? And now I get that frequently. It's harder on my boundaries in my face, like my actual in-person life. And then things like money, like fearing of having to pay taxes. So Jen says in New York, it's a doing business as, and we can go to the city building. It's right near DMV for me. So in Connecticut, like so check with where you live. Because in Connecticut, I can have my business name, like the Sisters Enchanted, but I could be doing business as something else. So it'd be like if my business is the Sisters Enchanted LLC, but I'm doing business as like, Sarah the Witch or something. So here it would be two different things. So Ashley, can you give me an example of a time when you failed and how you got back up again? Yeah, my first course failed miserably. And I just kept doing it like that. I just didn't stop. So I asked the little audience that I had built, I just asked, what do you guys want to learn next? I asked the people, what do you want to learn? And then I taught them the thing that they wanted to learn. My next class that I sold 8 spots of a class, and that was after 6 weeks of promotion, 6 weeks. And I sold 8 spots, and I worked really hard. I gave an early bird discount to 2 people signed up for. 3 people signed up for, I think, because I offered them a discount to sign up. And so that puts us at 5. And that was and I think 3 people just signed up, like, paid full price. And then when I realized that I still hadn't even made back the money on the costs that I put out to do ads and things, that's when I was like, oh my goodness. And I offered 3 people a discount to sign up just to break even. And so this was a couple, so May, June, July, August, September. So that was 5 months into business still that happened. And then, a year later, my husband was able to stop working. So my advice is you just have to keep going. Don't stop. Ask them what they want and then do it. But when you stop and you like him and haw about what you're going to do next, and you're like, well, I just don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like that's when the opportunities start to fly by you, and, people lose interest, and they find other people. You just got to keep going. I see Mama Bear. I don't know what your real name is, but I will send you this in a replay too, so you're going to be fine. And I'm so glad that Jen found us. She's like a light in the Sisters Enchanted. All right, so how do we get past all of this? All right, so our first reason, not enough motivation or perseverance. How do we get past that? Ask yourself what you are willing to part with. So what is your like bottom line lifestyle going to look like if you are journeying into starting your own business? And if you already have started one and you're just like, there's no money coming in, ask yourself, okay, what am I willing to part with to put more time towards this, to put the dedication, the effort that's needed here? What is your like minimal standard of living going to look like? And then commit to that. And that stinks. And I've been there. Like I said, when I built the Sisters Enchanted, I was running my own business. I was taking care of my toddler during the day, and I was pregnant. I got pregnant right at that second course that I had to give people discounts to sign up for. That's when I got pregnant. So, and I was like, there's no way that I can keep running this other business. It's killing me. And I was like, okay, what can I do here? And I just, every night, every spare moment that I had, nights, weekends, 5 hours of sleep, 4 hours of sleep, I built this business. So what are you willing to part with? How long are you willing to do the hustle part before the ease and flow kicks in? Like how long can you commit to being consistent, to asking people, what do you want? And then making it. Ask them and then make it. Don't ask them today and then behind the scenes make it for 6 weeks. Ask them, and if they say, I want to learn about X, then 4 days later you tell them, okay, that's great, because I'm going to teach you a free class about X. And then 2 weeks later, I'm going to sell you the class about X. That's the bigger thing. Just keep going. So how long are you willing to hustle for before you can get to the ease and flow part? Do you need to set up a schedule or create a new routine, get somebody in to help you in your life? What does that look like? So for the motivation and perseverance piece, you really got to ask yourself, what can I do to stay motivated and persevere through the hard times? And what does the end goal look like? That's really helpful when you're building a business, or if you have one, but you're looking to, it's not making money for you the way you want it to, because you can remind yourself during those really hard times where you're headed. So for me, when I was like really sick with my pregnancy, I had low blood sugar, and I was like, sometimes would be on the bathroom floor just in tears. My husband would have to come and like bring me food in the bathroom. It was horrible. And my daughter was having behavior trouble. She still is. And I was like, oh, this is horrible. I cannot get up and get on the computer. But what was my end goal? My end goal was to not have to work my other business. And my end goal was to be able to travel with my kids and go anywhere we want to go. And my end goal was to be debt free. So I'm still working on those student loans, still working on paying those off, but that's my end goal. So when the times are really horrible and miserable for you, what does your end goal look like? Keep that in mind, because it's going to help you out when you're like wanting to give up. The reason number 2, that it's not the right business or that you're selling to the wrong person. So what can we do to get past that? Does the business idea make you feel warm and fuzzy inside, or like completely drained and miserable? So think about that. If it's something that you dread working on and you're like, oh, I just don't want to do this ever, then, I would say it's time to exit that business idea and find one that makes you feel warm and fuzzy. If my ideal day, if somebody was like, Sarah, you magically have 2 days to yourself with no children and no nothing, no commitments, what would you do? I would probably like get some really good like gourmet takeout or delivery and either do work, or I would learn something that helps me in my business because I love it that much. It's like literally my hobby. It's my hobby. It's my life. I freaking love it. And that's what you want from a business. In terms of selling to the wrong person, do you know who might want to buy this thing? Do you already know these people, or do you need to find them? So if you're selling to the wrong person, you've got to kind of break it down to basics again and ask yourself, what am I offering? And am I offering it to the right person? For those of you that might be following this that are in online business and are in different online business groups, a lot of times people are in these groups trying to give like value posts and share things, but that might not be the right audience for you if it's not your thing. Just because they're other online business owners doesn't mean that they want what you're selling. A good example of this, people will join my Facebook group. It's got between 7,000 and 8,000 people in it. And people will join my group and I can sniff them out because this is what, I'm in online business as well. So I can see what they're doing, and people will post these value posts, and there'll be this like story about something they did or whatever. And it's just like you clearly don't know this audience, because this audience, yes, they're female. Yes, they're into magical things, but most of this audience isn't here for like a $10,000 life coaching package. That's not the kind of audience that's in this group. There are groups that are that kind of audience. This is not it. And so people pop in and they're just like, oh, these are women and they're into magic. I should probably give them this value post and try to get them to follow my page where I sell this $10,000 product, which is amazing for that person to sell it, but that's not the audience that's cultivated in that group. So where, are you giving your information to the people that might buy from you? And then, like I said, do you genuinely believe in whatever it is that you're selling? So I genuinely believe in the power of a spiritual practice, genuinely believe in it. And I can tell in my life, because I am right now with the kids and the business, I don't have the best spiritual practice. Like for me, it's usually on the fly, and I'm like trying to take 3 seconds to like visualize and calm down. And I can see the impacts of that in my life. So I know how powerful it can be to build this stuff in and to learn these things about yourself and journey. And I've done the work, and I had all these terrible things, but I've lived it and I've changed, and I'd love to share that with people. So do you genuinely believe in it? With my academic coaching service, yes, I believed in my service, but sometimes people would come to me whose kids genuinely were not going to progress past a certain point. And they were paying me a lot of money to try to get the kids to a place where they just, they would not be anytime in the next 5 years. And we have parents that were trying to like get their kids into college. And I'm like, the kid like needs to work on all of these social skills that's going to take you probably 5 years to work out before you should even worry about college. And so I did not always believe in the service that I was providing people either. And it made it difficult for me to want to do my service, right? And hard to tell them that too, because then, as moms, if you're a mom watching this, you don't want people to tell you things like that about your kids. When people tell me that my kid is very poorly behaved, yes, she is. But when other people tell me, it feels terrible. When I say it, it's an entirely different thing. So you have to be behind what you're selling. So Brittany says that just getting the confirmation you need to move away from Thrive and really focus on spiritual retreat business. Yes. Buy up that bed and breakfast, and I will come. I will host a retreat there. Jen, looking to make money, not spend it. Yes, nothing irks me. I hate to say this even. Nothing irks me more than when people pop into my Facebook group for the first time, just like selling stuff, or are clearly like placing themselves in a position to sell something. And I'm like, no, I didn't even say hi. Like join in a free class or something at least. Like I don't do this to people. Why you gotta do it to me? But yeah, it's super hard. So again, when it's not the right business idea or you're selling to the wrong people, I recognize if it's the right business idea for you. And then if you're selling to the right people, yeah, just add me to groups. I know sometimes things pop up in my feed and I'm like, how did I get here? All right. So Renee says that you have an online business and a group page, from a page about motivation and learning more than selling. So my business Facebook page and website is for, just my opinion. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. It always I don't know. It's a pet peeve of mine when people, I'm like, I put a lot of time into this, at least take one of my free classes and get to know me a little bit before you start trying to come in. All right. So the third thing, fear. List all of the things that come up as fear for you. What can you do to get past these things? And what are some of them that are definitely going to hold you back? Thanks, Renee, for sharing that. What are some that are definitely going to hold you back, and what can you do about them? So there's some fears that you're just going to have, right? What can you do to get past these things? So for me, one of my big fears was starting the Sisters Enchanted was being visible. And it's still a fear that I tackle. Because, and I tell this story, people that follow along and know me, I bought my first tarot deck when I was 15 with my lunch money, actually in Disney World. So that wasn't, I bought my first witchcraft book with my lunch money. I bought my first tarot deck in Disney World when I was there on a school band trip. That's right. I played the trumpet until I was 18 years old. And so I bought my first tarot deck in Disney World. I bought my first witchcraft book with my lunch money. And I would sneak them and hide them and read them on Friday nights. And I always felt like there was something people were going to hate me or think it was scary or somebody would judge me. And my mom's the most open person ever. And then even growing up, the same thing. It's just my thing that I wasn't hey, I have this book on witchcraft. Let's talk about it. It was kind of I have these tarot cards. I just was my thing, my thing to myself. And occasionally I'd run into somebody and I'd see a piece of jewelry they were wearing or that they were looking at something. And I'd be like, oh, hey, I like that too. And I would chat with them. But then when I was starting the Sisters Enchanted, it was one of my big things was fear. And I talked about this business mentor to her with it. And I said, yeah, but what about the people? What about my family? And she was like, well, what about that? I was like, they're going to think that's so weird. And they do. My grandmother still doesn't fully. She's like, what do you do? And I'm like, don't worry about it, Graham. But that's a big fear thing for me, right? And I have a stepfather that's really, we still kind of skirt around it a little bit with him. And and it's definitely an awkward thing, but that is my big fear. And I, have to get past it and keep working on it. So everybody has a fear. What is your fear thing? When my husband stopped working, it made me really nervous and crazy, to think about money, fear of no money, And I had to like talk to myself and say, okay, as long as I'm doing what I know to do, it's not going to be a problem, right? And I had to really work past that. So Ashley's saying, do you know what company you went with to Disney World? I have no idea. It was a long time ago. That was in high school. Quite a long time ago. Deanna, speaking of being visible as a mom, how do you handle your kids and being in the public eye? That's a good question. My husband really has some questions about this, because you can easily Google me and find my mailing address. Legally, it's supposed to be on the bottom of my emails where my business is registered. And I don't have a P.O. box. I suppose I could buy one, but I don't, because you can Google me and see where I live. And anybody, I guess, who really wanted to find me would do that. So that is a difficult thing for sure. And I do find it, so in terms of like online people, I don't have any real good, just having the faith that nobody crazy is ever going to come try to find me. And then in-person people, there are, in terms of the business that I run, there are moms that don't talk to me. They're nice to my daughter, but they don't talk to me at events, or like they try to avoid talking to me if at all possible. And so that's unfortunate, but you know, they're not going to be friends with me. That's fine. But yeah, it is a tricky situation. So Renee did many things like that as a child, even young adult, came out of the broom closet in your 30s, and then all your friends were like, yeah, we already knew. My mother said she knew that since I was a kid. Yeah. Yeah. My mom never there was never I don't know, she doesn't care, but it's just like telling people, like my stepfather, who my mom's on her third marriage. So it's actually my first stepfather. He's a little bit like, what? So Jen has customers show up to our old house, not so much here. And now you're used to it. So that's you all day long. And here, there. I'm so used to it now. Yeah. Most people don't talk to Anna and I, most other moms, which, you know, that's cool. But yeah, as far as people coming to the house, so Jen, like you experienced that so far, you know, that's not anything like that hasn't happened, but, you know, I don't know. Just to pay their bill. Yeah, hopefully nobody just showed up here. That would be really, I don't know what I would do. My husband would probably freak out. He'd be like, what? It would definitely be strange. So people, you're in the Bible Belt. Yeah, judgy. Yeah, some people are just like that. But it's only some moms. Some moms are really curious, you know, and then they ask me like really random questions, and I'm like, that's a weird question to ask a person that you barely know. But anyway, okay. So yeah, the fear stuff. You kind of just have to, like, I don't know. I don't have great advice other than write it down, acknowledge it, and figure out what you're going to do to get around it. So these are all the things that can stop you from being successful in your business. So I gave you 2 printables, one in your welcome email and then one in today's email. So this is from the welcome email. This was the pre-work one. I asked you to think about a time when you started something and didn't finish it. What was it, and what got in the way of you following through? So that's really important, because it helps you recognize, you know, what your self-sabotage stuff is, what gets in your way from following through with things, what you need to work on. So Jen saying, because their service has they think it's okay to come to yours. So we need to move to a mountain. Yeah, my husband has brought it up many a time, like people knowing where we live. And I'm like, you can just Google me and find out where I live. I can't hide it. Anyway. So yeah, so think about a time when you started something and didn't finish it. What was it, and what got in the way of following through? So if you have no business at all, this is a really good place to start. If you have a business, but you're looking to make more money, or make your first money, or start a new business, this can be helpful in seeing what's happening to keep you from where you want to be. What roadblocks might get in the way of you following your dreams, to owning your business in the near future? So for a lot of people, and I'm assuming that anybody watching this identifies as a female or woman, because that's the people that I work with. So I'm assuming that all of us here identify that way. So you might have a partner or somebody in your life that doesn't want you to do this, or doesn't want you to spend money to do this. Those are really valid things that can get in the way. So a lot of women will say, like, My spouse will not let me do X, Y, and Z, or my spouse, and I hear that a lot. And that is totally valid. So the only, way to get past that roadblock, though, is to acknowledge it and talk about it. Figure out, well, what does it look like that what can I do to make this happen? What can we sell so that I can buy my website domain and my email software or whatever it is that you need? What can I do to make this happen? And talk to them about it. So what roadblocks might get in the way of you doing this? Is it time? Is it the money? It doesn't take a lot of money to start a business, actually. I started the Sisters Enchanted with a $69 website, I think $10 for the domain registration, and my email when I started was free, and then it was about $10 or $15 a month. And that's it. And then I spent money on ads. But besides that, and registering the business, which was a couple $100 here in Connecticut anyway. Well, it's like $300 or so. But so think about the roadblocks and what could prevent you from doing that. So Renee says, economy is what hurt our brick and mortar business, which is why we closed it 2 years ago and went online. It's tough online, but a lot less overhead. Yeah. So my business, my in-person business was obviously in person. So it wasn't like brick and mortar with physical goods, but I did have an office that I had to pay rent for. And when I was starting the Sisters Enchanted for online business, in order to not have to pay the rent on the office and be able to work less on my in-person business so that I could work more on my online business, I started seeing clients out of their homes in my home. So I started my first business out of necessity. I was pregnant and was laid off, actually, of the job that I had. And I started in people's homes and really didn't like it, and in libraries working with clients. And so I got the office space, which I loved having. I wish I had one now. I loved having it. But when I was like, I don't want to do this, I could really use to work less, I ditched the office, cleaned up an area of my home, saw students here, and for one student went to their house and had, didn't have that overhead. But so that was a roadblock for me, having to pay the rent, right? Well, I got rid of it so that I could spend that money elsewhere. 3 things that you love to spend time doing. So what do you love to do? Make sure that your business has something to do with something on that list. And what makes you want to crawl back in bed and hide under the blankets? Make sure that your business has nothing to do with anything on that list. So for me, it was like having to confront parents and say, listen, you're wanting me to do this with your kid and I can't because this needs to be done first. And then having the parent yell at me was very unpleasant. I did not like it, and it made me want to crawl back in my bed and hide under my blankets. So I don't have to do that with the Sisters Enchanted. So that was your pre-worksheet. Think about these things. So, it's all self-reflection type stuff. When did you start something, you didn't finish it, and why? What things might get in the way of you following your dream and starting this business? Or if you have a business and it's not succeeding, what is getting in the way of that? What can you do? Things that you love to do. If your business does not have anything to do with anything on that list, then you need to work on that. And then avoid the things that make you want to crawl back in bed. So Renee wants to make her business mobile someday, like a drivable camper, and go to people with my services, classes, products, ultimate goal. Yes, that's amazing. So I don't know, Renee, do I know what you do? That reminds me of people that do like fairs and things, and they have, they drive around and do workshops and stuff, which would be pretty cool. Okay. From today's class, so you have a holistic business. You could totally do that. Have like pop-up shops at like farmers markets and things throughout the country or wherever it is that you are, and like promote your online offerings while you're there. That's something that Anna and I have thought about doing, is finding or getting some physical goods and doing different like fairs and pagan festivals and things like that. And but with having the physical products, but with the main idea being that we're getting our name out there for our online courses. I don't know, physical products is a lot of work. So I shy away from it. And you make your own products. It shows for years, but it's a lot. Exactly. Physical products is a friggin' lot. Yeah. So holistic classes, you could reach out to different fairs and festivals. The other, like the down, like, so a roadblock that I've come across with them too, a lot of it is the cost to go to them. So like if you're doing free talks, places like that you have to travel to, to make sure that it's going to be a return for you and getting people to pay for something, right? To make it worth your expenditure. Okay, so the success plan worksheet from today. 3 things that you can do when your idea or your plan totally bombs. So Ashley, if you're still watching, I know you were asking about what I did when my business failed, when I had failures, and what did I do to get back up again. And my answer was just keep going. All right, you're here. So 3 things you can do when your idea or plan totally bombs. What are they? So number 1 thing you can do is keep going. Ask your audience, okay, well, don't say, well, that failed. What do you want? But in your head, that failed. So what do you guys want? Ask them, what do you want next? And I would do this with like surveys, polls, places where they can give you feedback. And the one that gets the most response, make that thing. So that would be the first thing. 3 things you can do. Number 1, ask the people, what do you want? And then make it. That would be the first thing. What's another thing that you can do when your idea or your plan totally bombs? Maybe you have like a service or like kind of a back pocket sort of thing, like a plan B that you can pull out. So if you sell a service either in person or online or a class, so this is more not product based, but a service or a class, and your idea or your plan totally fails. You can, maybe you're selling a product for $97, let's say, or your service or whatever, and nobody buys it. So what you can do is reach out to people and say, hey, you know what? I would really like to offer this to 5 people as a test for $40. And then this way you're still making some money on it. You're still getting that product out there and you're learning something from it. That's what I did with my very first class. I tried to sell it for $97. There was like crickets. And so I sold it for $37 and sold 4 spots. And it was a learning experience. Fast forward a year later, I sold like 70 of them for $67 without thinking about it. Well, barely thinking about it. I did think about it, but my point is, it was a lot easier and it was $30 more. So I did not sell it for $97, but I just, added on a little bit and sold a bunch of them. So that's another thing you can do. 1, just keep going, ask what they want. 2, rearrange your expectations around it, lower it, and offer it as a test to something else. And then the third thing is maybe go back through all of this stuff again and see, where maybe you're not doing something that is right for you. But what are 3 things that you can do around your business? If it's a physical products business, what can you do maybe to pre-sell next time so you're not investing money into something that nobody is buying? Who can you reach out to collaborate with? Maybe you provide the physical item, somebody else provides a service around the physical item. Or like a subscription box company, maybe you reach out to them. So come up with 3 things that you can do when things don't go as planned. So Sam says that she goes to craft fairs and sells crafty makes and has a page that shows my makes, but making it more showing than selling, if that makes sense. I'm now starting to step it up a notch and sell a bit more. Well, great. Yes, but showing can be selling if you're creating like people that like want, for example, if you make, there's a woman in our group, Mindy, who might be watching this on the replay. I don't know. She makes these goddess wands. And I know something Mindy is working on it is like her social media presence, because, if you're showing these like in action, like in a sacred space, people are going to be like, oh, I want that sacred space. I want to buy that thing. So you can show and tell and sell at the same time. So Renee, what is your suggestion on the best places to teach online classes or offer them? As I know you just, well, I just teach them from like on my own. You can do what I do and find, generate your own audience and do it that way. You could also collaborate with other people who teach online classes or who do services similar. Like if you know a Reiki practitioner, maybe you offer up an online class with that person or something. So you can do collaborations that way if you don't have your own audience or if you don't want to build your own audience. All right. Who can you turn to for advice, brainstorming, motivation? You want to surround yourself with other people doing similar things. There is nothing harder than surrounding yourself with non-business people when you're trying to start your own business. I am still looking for some in-person people to surround myself with because I would love to go get a coffee with some business owners that do online things. Or any business owner for that matter, besides my husband. It can be really hard when you're on your own because people don't understand. When I first started, I had nobody, and oh, you're so coffee is good. We should get coffee. People like don't get it, and they're like, just take a break. You're like, I can't take a break. This is so it needs to get done, and for a good reason, right? People don't get it. So surround yourself with people that can help you, and surround yourself with people that are motivated. The very first business class that I joined online, I joined up with 3 other women to do like a meeting every week where we chatted. And I have like run circles around all 3 of them. And one of them was like, oh, she hemmed and hawed all the time. Another one, the same thing, was like very loosey-goosey, like always like hemming and hawing about what she was going to do. Another one did try, but then she like kind of laid off and then tried and then laid off, and she's still trying. But there was nobody that was just like had their pedal to the metal like me. So surround yourself with people that are like you. Yeah, Brittany, this group, yes. 3 things that energize you, get you totally excited and motivated. So this is, again, that idea of what you love, love, love. What are 3 things that energize you and get you totally excited? Incorporate that into your business as best that you can. And also use those things when you're feeling really like you're drowning, because you will feel like you're drowning. Whether you have a business or you're starting one, there's going to be a time, especially if you're just starting one, that you feel like you're drowning and you're going to need something that you know will get you excited and motivated. And then non-negotiable acts of self-care that you want to schedule into your life. This is something I'm terrible at. What are things that you have to do to stay sane, and schedule them in? For me, I love to read, and I've been doing way less of it than I think I should be doing. So I now, like, I have a book in the bathroom. I have a book in my bedroom. And I just placed like novels and some improvement type books like everywhere, so that, if my kid's taking a bath, there's a book right there. I can just pick it up. I don't have to like leave her and be scared or something, like it's there. I set myself up for success. So non-negotiable acts of self-care. What can you do to make those happen? Because that stuff will fall by the wayside. So Renee, it's so hard to find others that have the same motivation in small business. Yeah, it is. Because I think a lot of people, especially when people are starting out in particular, that's why most people fail. Like there's people with ideas, and then there's people that are making their ideas happen. And that's 2 different people. And it's okay. I was talking about this with my sister today. And because my husband, he owned his own business, but he would often hire himself out to other people rather than generate his own work. And the reason is because he didn't have the motivation to do it. And that's fine. That's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's important to know that about yourself, right? And not like sit around and say, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm failing. I can't do it. It's not working. Like, think about that. Is it really not working, or is it because, just that there's a little bit of not that motivation on your end, which is okay. That's not a character flaw. That's not a character flaw at all. It's just, just different for every person. And it's just important to acknowledge that. But you can still, if my husband was self-employed technically, but would hire himself out to other people. So he could choose to work for a person or not. Or, he could say, well, I'm not working the next 10 days, and he's not that person's employee. So he could do that. So you can still be self-employed, but like also work for other people and contract yourself out. So that's definitely something to think about also. So Jen says, when someone tells my hubby he needs to relax, he looks like his head is going to explode. Yes, that's how I am. And Jen, I know Jen's familiar with myself, my sister Anna, and her partner. And Nick tells me that a lot. Like, you need to relax. And they're like, get like a twitch going. So Brittany, reading's big for her. Lydia, it's clever. I need to set up stuff around the house. Yes, because if they're not there, there's always a reason I can't leave. Or like I have a 9-month-old, so like he'll be in the middle of the floor, and I can't just like run. I mean, I can run real fast and come back. But if my 3-year-olds with like Legos, and then like the 9-month-old, I can't leave them. So just leave them out. Desiree has decks of tarot or oracle all around the house. You can pull a card whenever you want. Yeah, I have those too. Lydia, those who talk about doing things and those who do them. Yes, two different people. Jen, he never stops. Yeah, I'm either taking care of the kids or I'm working. And the only time I'm not working is like if we're eating food. So I'm either eating food, taking care of the kids, or working. And so, yeah, but I love it. I really love it. So your Kindle is always with you. Jen, you should start a business with like, I don't know, something. You should be your own love witch. That's what you should be. Some kind of like, you should be like the married love witch, the like love witch for married people. That's what you should be. I would take your class, just saying. But yeah, it's great that he's motivation. See, my husband is not. My husband's like blah, blah, blah. Let's just lay around. And I'm like, get up off that sofa. You're never going to succeed on the sofa. You should, Jen. We need one of those. And Renee would take that class. Yes, you should. You should be like the married love witch, because there's a difference between like a love witch, right? So some of you don't know what we're talking about. I have this program, The Enchanted Journey, and we had a love witch talking about sex and love and stuff this a couple weeks ago, chatting with us. And it's great to hear that kind of thing. But then sometimes you want to hear from somebody who's like married and has kids. You're like, but you do really know where I'm coming from. So here you go. Awesome. Jen, well, thank you for sharing that about Renee, that she's a rock star. Jen's not too far away. What are you, like 6 hours away from me, maybe? We can have a long distance coffee chat. Yes, married class. 3 hours. You're only 3 hours? I thought you were like upstate New York. Well, see, you're not that far after all. All right. So I think that is, question and answer. We've done lots of, yes, coffee meetings. 3 hours is not so bad. You go drive an hour and a half, meet in the middle. We should do that. All right. So does anybody have any questions and answer, or I'll give the answers, you give the questions about any of this. So this was like the reasons why businesses fail. And if you have a business, or if you are starting one, it's all really good stuff and some good self-reflection stuff in here for you. Ashley, how long have I been in business? I have been in business with the Sisters Enchanted, this business, 2 years in May. My business will be 2 years old. And so it took me, like I said, I started it in May 2015, no, 16, May 2016. And like I said, about June, I sold 3 things for $37. I did have one course that I sold that was $149, and I'd been trying to sell it and nobody signed up, and I was going to stop trying to sell it. Like I had ads and things, and I flew to my grandmother's house to visit her. And when I got off the plane, I was like, all right, I'm going to shut this off because nobody's buying it. I'm wasting money. And one person signed up. And I was actually like, I can't believe it, because like now I have to do all this stuff for one person. But I emailed the person, I changed it, and I was like, listen, nobody else signed up. So let's just do this like a one-on-one thing. And she was totally for it. And we did that. But then I did my first tarot class. I did 6 weeks of live free classes, 6 weeks. And like I said, I had 8 signups, and I worked really hard for those 8 signups. And so that puts me at September. So it's five months in business, and nothing was happening. And then I asked, what do you want to learn about? And then I made the class to go along with that. And then I asked again for the next one, what do you want to learn about? And I made the class. And then I asked again. And then I got so much feedback from what people wanted to learn about that I made a membership site, because I was like, I can't actually, my computer's going to die. I can't teach all of the stuff that you guys want to learn about in enough time. So, that's what happened. But I kept going, is the point. 5 months in, I really kept going. I did not stop. So let's see here. Yeah, thanks, Ashley. Just keep going. That's what, when you fail, just keep going. It's really cliche. I'm just checking my battery. People say, like, there's that picture of the mount of like somebody chipping through like a brick wall, and like the opening is like one more chip and the guy walks away. But it's so true. Jen, the social aspect stops as I get socially anxious. Any tips for that? I will say that I have a really hard time speaking in front of groups, but I can do it online. So try it. give it a shot. It might be different. I like sweat like a crazy person talking in front of people live and like get hives sometimes, but it's different like in this format. So it's not really a tip, but maybe try it. So Anna was doing the one card tarot reads. Yeah, that was actually the second time we did it, Jen. The first time we did live classes, and we only had like, I don't know, 300 people in our Facebook group. Now there's almost 8,000. Renee, have you noticed there's a price point that seems to work high-low? Does it seem to make a difference? That's a great question, because a lot of people will say, charge high prices. I've built the Sisters Enchanted on low-end courses for online terms, low prices. So, I would say it depends on your audience and to do what works for you. There's a lot of people I know that only sell things that are a minimum of $500 and they do great business. And then there's me who, like, if I sell, like, our tarot class was $167, but I'm running it for 5 months. Like, it's a 5-month long thing. And it was $167. So a lot of people would be like beside themselves at that, price wise. So you kind of have to figure out what works for you. I know people, like I said, who sell things that are, minimum of $500 and they make, great money doing it. And then I sell things that are not $500 and I make great money doing it. So it kind of depends on your audience. But I do also know a lot of people that will start selling a course right out of the gate that they'll price it for like $197 or something and nobody buys it. And I'm always like, no, if this is your first thing, people don't know you that well, maybe start out with something low end. Let's see here. Yes, when Anna did the first 78 days of tarot, she did 2 of them. Let's see here. Desiree, makeup artist, and want to offer card readings as well. I figured out how to incorporate the 2. Any tips on how to start offering readings? I wanted to focus on in-person, but I'm also open to online readings. So if you're doing in-person ones, and you do makeup, I would hook yourself up with trendy salons and see if you can't do like a night there. Like maybe they do like, you do like a thing where like, I don't know, around here, like hair painting or like braids, like braid bars are really cool. So maybe like they do something and you do readings, or like there's like a girls' night where there's like makeovers and wine and you do the readings. That's what I would hook up with salons. There you go. So Renee just done low prices. Yeah, Jen, wedding expos. Yeah, hook yourself up with other people. Yeah, I say when you're first starting out, Renee, I would say go lower price, but there's some people that would argue with me about that. Ashley wants to create a traveling yoga studio. I love that. Host workshops all over. When I live somewhere for 4 months, just host it on the beach or mountain or historic spot. Any advice? Just do it. So for you, I would say maybe get started again, hooking yourself up with other events so that you're getting your name out to people all around. I'm just keeping an eye on my battery on my computer turned off. I don't have my cord with me. Get your name out there. So maybe find events that are going on and pitch your idea to that event for like a yoga class, and get your name out to people all over your area or like the country that you're in. I don't know, where you live, but so that your name is getting out everywhere. And then I would say too, start maybe doing digital classes online again, so that you are getting your name out to people all over the country. And then you're able to use that to host events everywhere. So you could be like, people in this area, I will be in your neck of the woods on this day, but then you've had that audience built when you're ready to do it. If you are ready to do it, you can do ads on Facebook if you're comfortable with that right away, targeting people that live in an area and that are interested in yoga, that are a certain age and income level, and get people to your event. But if it's traveling too, I would just hook yourself up with like farmers markets, like city fairs, arts fairs, things like that. And start traveling. But until you have the traveling portion set up, start getting your name out there digitally and maybe like get yourself to teach at other people's events. Would you recommend doing YouTube videos or any certain apps are user friendly that could get my yoga flows and name out there? Yeah, YouTube is really great. Any video that you create, upload it to YouTube and to Facebook separately. Never post a YouTube link on Facebook. Nobody will see it. So do those separately. And yeah, if you want to be able to travel, collaborate with other people too. People that would be interested in yoga, but that don't teach yoga. Like offer to do a free class for somebody. Like, can I do, like, say like, oh, I'd love to give your audience a free 30-minute class. Here's my name and website. And that's what that's doing, is it's getting your name out to people. And it can be like the same class. You can make one class and that's just like your collaboration class, and you just offer it up for free to people with online businesses who might be interested in yoga. People that are all over like the country that you live in. Retreats, Brittany says, yeah. Farmers markets are great places to build an audience. Consider local senior centers, love yoga. Yeah, line yourself up with the just like events that are already happening if you don't have your traveling yoga studio set up. All right, guys, I think I'm going to have to ditch off because as you can see, since I'm sharing my screen, I think you can see it, I'm down to 14% battery. I don't want to get cut off. So tomorrow is our second piece. It's at 1 o'clock and then again on Wednesday. And there are going to be some prizes for our active participants. So I will choose people from our chats here. And I'll keep my chat box open so that I can choose, write down your names. And then I will choose some prizes for y'all. So thank you guys for joining. Thank you, Ashley. And I will see you guys tomorrow at 1 o'clock for part 2, and then Wednesday at 1 o'clock for part 3. All right. So I hope you guys all have a good rest of your day. If you guys are in the big Facebook group, Sisters in Changer group, at 3 o'clock, I'll be chatting in there with Rychelle Ross, who's one of our members, about the Akashic Records. She's going to tell us all about them. So, come find us over there. And yeah, cool. All right. I'll see you guys later, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right.